Stacy, I'm so excited to have fun with my family this summer, getting outside for hikes, bike rides, roasting s'mores over the fire pit.
Oh, it sounds like so much fun. And you know what else it sounds like? A lot of bug bites.
We do get our fair share of bug bites, and those are not fun. If even just one kid gets one super itchy bite, it can ruin the whole day, or even worse, keep them up all night. But this summer, I'm prepared thanks to All Better Co.
All Better Co. is a plant-powered first aid brand, and they just launched with their Don't Scratch That line of products, including first-of-their-kind patches and handy pens for itchy bug bites. The company was founded by two moms who wanted to make all-natural plant-powered topical solutions that are safe for everyday use and also powerful enough to actually work, calming bug bite irritation and inflammation.
I'll be carrying All Better Co.'s Don't Scratch That kit on every adventure this summer. Their kit includes their Don't Scratch That pen, which is made with just enough premium hemp-derived CBD to soothe the skin, making it easier for us to heal ourselves, and Don't Scratch That patches to seal in the relief and protect bites from scratchy little hands, and they're infused with soothing tea tree oil, so by the time you take them off, there's nothing to scratch.
The patches are individually wrapped for on-the-go use, but are also great for nighttime.
An added bonus is that both products don't just make the itch better, they nourish your skin with moisturizing ingredients like jojoba and coconut oil.
Used together, the All Better Co. pen and patch are a powerful duo that you can bring anywhere summer fun takes you.
Learn more about their premium hemp-derived CBD at allbetterco.com. While there, use our exclusive code DIJFY20 for 20% off any product. That's allbetterco.com, code DIJFY20 for 20% off.
Now, if I'm making protein bars homemade instead of buying them or protein balls, then there's something else that I might have made homemade that I'm going to buy store-bought to offset the effort.
Welcome to Didn't I Just Feed You?
A podcast about feeding kids.
Hi, I'm Megan.
And I'm Stacy.
And we're kicking off a special summer series. Summer is such a busy time for everyone, including us, but it's also no time to take off because boy, oh boy, do we know that cooking and feeding gets tricky in the summer between camps, vacations, and so much time at home with the kids.
So much time. So guys, all of our episodes from today through the first week in August will be short and focused on summer solutions. We'll be sharing our favorite ingredients, recipes, and ideas for quick summery meals that are delicious and basically get you through. Today, we're going to be talking about pool snacks. This is a request that came in through our listeners community.
In this summer season, more than ever, our community is going to serve a really important role too. All of our listeners in that community share so many ideas and solutions. It's the ultimate busy home cook's hive mind. So if you haven't joined, this is the time to do it.
We have a free community that anyone can access at didn'tijustfeedyou.com/community. And if you're in a position to support Didn't I Just Feed You, you can join our supporting membership, which comes with perks, including 2 additional bonus episodes every single month, even through the summer, guys.
Also, for what it's worth, being a supporting member helps support ongoing free episodes of Didn't I Just Feed You? Which, y'all, we haven't taken a break in over 3 years. Even through our busy and hard seasons, like moving across the country, because we feel so passionately about supporting you in your kitchen endeavors. If we've been helpful to you in an ongoing way and you're in a position to support us back, we really appreciate it. And we'd love to see you in our supporting membership.
Okay. Pool snacks. So we were going to do this later in the summer, but we had somebody in our community say help, I need on-the-go summer meals. So we're going to kick off the summer solution with pool snacks. They should be so simple, yet there are all these different pool situations, all different ages. All of our choices are so different, but it has to be not too messy. You have to be able to pack it and go. So many things. So Megan, what are your go-to pool snacks? And what's your pool situation?
So when we moved back to the South, in the South, pool culture is a thing. I don't know how to explain that other than to say A lot of neighborhoods have pools. A lot of folks have backyard pools. There's lots of community pools, apartment pools, all of that. We didn't necessarily have, there were community pools in Boise, but we didn't necessarily frequent them a lot. So we did a lot of like playing on the river, which there's a great river here in Chattanooga too. But we primarily go to the pool at my in-laws' apartment complex, or we have a very small community pool in the little town that we live in. So that means I'm never like close to my house for pool snacks. Everything I bring needs to be very portable, very easy to clean up because I'm in like a community space.
Do you ever rent summer homes that have a pool?
We haven't ever.
Okay.
Doesn't mean we wouldn't or would not. What about you guys? You have the country house with a pool now, but have you rented homes with pools for vacations, etc.?
Lots of different scenarios. We do have a pool now. This is the first summer that's ever been the case for us. In the city, when the kids were little, we used to go to community pools. There are a lot of actually really great community pools. If you don't live in a city and you hear the word city and community pool together, that might sound gross. It's not. They're great. They're like really well kept. They are definitely busy. But growing up in New Jersey, where I went to the beach all the time, like I never had a pool growing up. I had some friends who had pools. There are definitely pools in homes, but it's not an all year round thing. So I don't know, if you had a pool at home, it felt like you were super fancy to me from my childhood eyes.
Yes.
But there's a lot of beach going in New Jersey because everyone lives approximately, 1 to 2 hours away from the beach, and lots of public beaches in New Jersey. So they're always busy too. So this is the first time that I'll have a house by the beach. We do rent homes that have pools sometimes. So when the kids were little and we would rent a vacation home with other families, we would have a pool like out on Long Island to make it more fun. But I always preferred renting a beach house because I love the beach so much.
Okay.
So for the most part, I have always packed a bunch of summer snacks like you and taken them with me.
Yes. I think our like top line consideration here with pool beach snacks is portability, right?
I think so. And I have to say that even when we've been in a house that has a pool, you don't want to be going back and forth all the time too. So even though it's a little bit different, I think that it might be useful to take some of that packing mentality and applying it to the snacks that you're going to prep and set out for the kids, because you don't want to be running in and out, getting stuff for them.
Yes.
You want to lounge by the pool.
Yes. Okay. And then I think a secondary consideration is how hungry your kids get at the pool. I assume this is universal, but please correct me if I'm wrong. But my kids are like, they swim for an hour and then they're like starving. It doesn't matter if we had a giant breakfast or what. The longer we stay, the more snacks we need.
Yeah. I definitely used to have a rule. Now I don't need to like watch them quite as much, but like every hour to an hour and a half, even if I have to sometimes set my alarm, get out of the pool, reapply sunscreen, go to the bathroom, eat and drink something.
Yes.
Like, let's keep it going, because otherwise there's going to be some crazy exhaustion, crashing horribleness at the end of the day.
Literally, my whole pool snack strategy is basically to just avoid my kids melting down in the car ride home.
Totally.
I'm not saying that always happens, but if I can avoid it, that would be great. And then like messiness of a snack. I think that especially if you're like at a community pool, you don't want to be the person like jumping in with Cheeto fingers.
Ew. I agree with you. I think that there's another thing that, I don't know, I feel like maybe this says something about me. I also think about protein, salt, hydration.
Yes.
Right? So protein, that's just like good energy to keep you going because you're so active in the pool. Hydration, because you're so active and it's so hot and you're outside. Salt is something that I think about from also thinking about when the boys are in sports season. But I know it may seem like you're not sweating when you're in the pool because you're wet, but actually you're hot and you're sweating and you're moving. So replenishing some of that salt can also really help you stay hydrated and stay energetic too, because there's a lot of release of salt when you sweat and you're super active.
Yeah. That's so funny. I consider those all tenets of the like fullness and making sure the kids don't get hungry, but I'm so glad you pulled those out
Yeah.
as specific things. Okay. So what are your pool snacks?
Definitely those electrolyte drinks. I think that is actually not something that I normally get as a matter of course at home. But I think in our community, in our supporting community, we did an episode earlier this summer on keeping kids hydrated. And I think that first of all, there's a little bit of a myth about like how much we need to drink to stay hydrated. But also we really encourage parents, like if you're one of those people who's like, water, water, water. Okay, yes, water's good, but other drinks hydrate you too. And if it's a difference between your kid drinking and not drinking, then let them drink some fruit punch. Like that's really good for hydration, and think about the whole of what they're eating, if you're someone who has a concern about sugar. But the electrolyte drinks are also good for that salt piece.
So when you say electrolyte drinks, do you mean like liquid IV or do you mean like Gatorade Powerade?
Yeah, Gatorade
or
Powerade.
Something else?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
All manner of snack mixes. Like so many snack mixes. So there's, for Make It Easy, I did a DIY trail mix thing that we can link to. We developed a recipe for a delicious Chex cereal-based snack mix that's really great. But having something crunchy, having a lot of carb, adding some nuts. If you're not going savory, adding some like chocolate chips or something that'll appeal. I like candy coated like M&M type things instead of chocolate chips, because even though they both melt, the candy coating actually like helps the chocolate keep its integrity a little bit more. Mini chocolate chips can get real messy in the heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to add something here because I have snack mix on my list too. I just discovered Toodaloo snacks, which are more like nut and base. I don't want to use the word adaptogens because I don't love that word, but like,
are there mushrooms in there?
Maybe.
This is
not the psychedelic
kind. This is so not like you. I'm interested.
Why? That I'm in because they taste really good.
That's all
they
that matters.
Feel heartier. They feel like a little more exciting than some
what are they
classic
called?
Snack mixes. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo, like goodbye.
Yeah. Okay. Toodaloo snack mixes. And then I was thinking about how much we love Chex Mix, but also how you were saying like, oh, more like that's like carb heavy.
Yeah.
So getting a little more protein in there. It's like, I love those crispy chickpea snacks or like crispy freeze-dried edamame.
Yeah.
And those are great things to just like add to a Chex Mix so that you can get a little bit more filling protein in those snack mixes.
I love that. And I'm glad you brought up edamame because edamame is also on my list.
Yes.
Because I think just a big bag of, frozen edamame, steam them, salt them, shake it up and bring it with you. Edamame is good at any temperature. I mean, not if it gets like real hot. It's been sitting there for a long time and it's like steamy, but like from warm to room temp, I think it works great. So if you're taking a cooler with you, especially, I like that.
Yeah, I think that's so smart. We'll be back to hear more about this week's summer solution. But first, let's take a quick break to hear from this week's sponsors.
Megan, we might not be feeding babies anymore, but based on feedback from our baby mama listeners, they are as excited about Amara Organic Foods as we are.
I'm not surprised. Baby food options may have changed over the years, but the fact that parents want what's best for their babies never changes. Even though we're no longer feeding babies, we love that Amara offers delicious baby food with the most nutrition as affordably and conveniently as possible.
And in the most inventive way, their baby foods come in an on-the-go powder. You just add water, breast milk, or formula, mix and serve. This allows you to customize the texture of your baby's meal, which is ready in seconds.
You end up with a customized puree that has all the taste, textures, and nutrients of fresh purees. Pretty amazing, right?
Totally. It might sound wild, but when Amara Organic Foods founder Jessica realized that by removing the water content from fresh foods, she could retain all of their nutrients and flavor without having to boil them to death, she partnered with an infant nutritionist to turn these super powders into a less processed baby food that is 100% organic, non GMO, and plant based.
The most exciting part is that these powders make it possible to serve up quality organic foods at more affordable prices. Amara costs less than $2 per meal, which is less than the leading brands.
It's no wonder that Amara was voted best baby food by The Bump, Good Housekeeping, and What to Expect.
Learn more at amaraorganicfoods.com/DIJFY and get 20% off their online shop using our exclusive code DIJFY.
That's DIJFY for 20% off any purchase at amaraorganicfoods.com/DIJFY, short for Didn't I Just Feed You?
We do a lot of bars because I like to have,
yes, and yes.
A handful, like I will even stick a whole entire box, let me be honest, of like Z bars or those Baked by Nature fruit bars, and just keep those in the pool bag for like our very impromptu visits to go swim, where I don't know how long we're going to stay, or it's like the end of the day and probably they just need a snack in the car until we can get home and have dinner.
Yeah.
So I love bars of all manners for pool snacking.
Definitely. And we'll link to some granola bar recipes. And I think this is like the place to mention protein bites and stuff like that if you want to make something homemade that you can keep in the freezer or the fridge for the week.
There's also lots of like store-bought, like even my grocery store now sells that they make in the deli protein, like date and fruit protein balls, or you can buy them packaged.
You know what's so funny? I feel like when my kids were little, I made them homemade because I was like, I make everything homemade for my little guys. And then I went to the packaged stuff when my kids were your age. That's me making fun of myself. Yes.
I know
I like
is,
it.
And that's why I'm laughing.
I like it. But now that they're older, I find that those prepackaged versions are not useful to me anymore.
Because they can just house them. Is that why?
Yeah, the portion is way too small.
Eat the whole bag.
Right.
They're like, oh, that was one serving. And you're like, no, that was $10.
It's expensive. And that's like 1,000 pieces of plastic. And like, I try to do my best like everybody else. We don't put pressure on. I'm not like hardcore. I use single serve things when it's convenient. But it is annoying to me when you're tearing through literally 4 or 5 little plastic baggies at one sitting. So I'm finding that when I have time, making it homemade helps me make much bigger portions. It's more cost effective and it's way more filling.
Yes. I love it. I like this idea that like it's not one thing just driving you to make them. And I think that's an important consideration. Like it's the environmental thing, but it's also like cost, time, effort, and yield. Last summer, I very intentionally bought like snack pack style lunch boxes, like the old school Lunchable style trays, because that's what Ella would pick if we were going to the grocery store before the pool. And I was like, oh, let's grab lunch stuff. She would always pick Lunchables. And like, there's a lot to be said about why I don't like Lunchables, but there's so much trash with them that I was like, we just have to start making our own because I can't deal with this plastic. And those have been really great for making snack packs to take to the pool too.
Totally. Okay. Muffins. If we're talking homemade, although I do store-bought, it's really interesting because you have to shift your energy. Like now if I'm making protein bars homemade instead of buying them or protein balls, then there's something else that I might have made homemade that I'm going to buy store-bought to like offset the effort. So I do love making homemade muffins. I do think it's easy. I do think you should go listen to our muffin episode for tons of ideas that are both sweet and savory. But I've started buying muffins more because you can get big ass muffins at the supermarket and that will satisfy the kids.
Yes.
Or those Abe's. They love those Abe's muffins. They're vegan muffins.
I've never had them.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, I got to find them.
I think they're at Whole Foods. My kids really like, they make big ones and mini ones. I used to like the mini ones, but then like the mini ones go just too fast.
Again, it's like the protein balls. Like they're eating a whole case of them.
But
Yeah.
the one note about muffins, the big takeaway from the muffin episode is that you can go savory. Like you can pack that with ham and cheese, and then it has more protein, a little less sugar. It can double as a like sandwich or lunch. So that's what I have to say about muffins.
Also, you can batch muffins
Yes.
and freeze them and take them out, and they can thaw while you're commuting to the pool or to the beach. Also, this dredges up for me that I think we need to do an episode of like store-bought versus homemade.
Oh.
Like the things that we never ever do either of.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm excited. Like I love when I hear it from you. You're like, oh, I'm shifting here to make this homemade. Or I'm going back to buying this at the store.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, what else besides muffins?
Pesto pizza wheels. We have a recipe for those. But the idea of whether if you're going to make muffins, something else that you can do is just take pizza dough, store-bought or homemade, and you can do all kinds of things with them. You can roll them up and make them pinwheels. You can bake them in muffin tins, but that's also like really carby. But then you can add cheese, which is a little bit of protein, a lot of taste, salami, pepperoni, ham, whatever, just pesto, what's in our recipe. Actually, we added pepperoni to that too as an option because how could we not?
Because protein and making them more filling.
Totally.
Yeah.
And tastier. I'm obsessed with pepperoni. Do you know that Oliver doesn't like pepperoni?
I think I did know that. I think we've discussed it.
I find
once
it
before.
a little bit offensive that he doesn't like pepperoni. And then I'll do things like I'll buy a whole pepperoni pizza, being like, who could really like not like pepperoni on their pizza? And then he like takes it and he picks it off. No. But then he's annoyed because he's like, there's a little pepperoni flavor, that like pepperoni grease flavor is left on my pizza. Like, can I just have plain pizza? And of course he can. Of course. And then I go back to, but like, that's how offensive I find it, that like every once in a while I'll slip into just ordering a whole pepperoni pie because I'm like, come on, seriously?
Stacey, do we need to give you a pepperoni episode?
Yes. Oh my God. Pepperoni and hot dogs.
Because you just have gone off.
Sorry.
Aside. I have so much to say about this. And I'm like, we promised to keep these short and sweet. We can't go on. We go to the listeners community so we can talk about pepperoni in depth with Stacey.
Okay.
I love the idea of like baking things like pizza rolls and muffins to bring to the pool. I haven't really done that yet. Now I will. But I like anything that can be just like assembled before we go, like sandwiches, or I mentioned snack boxes. I try to stay away from our pool bag thin sliced sandwich bread, and I'm more likely to choose like a hearty hoagie style roll or a baguette, because I think that just holds up better to like being in a cooler or being in our swim bag. And I like, my kids will eat hummus sandwiches or like avocado and cheese sandwiches, so I don't always lean towards deli meat necessarily.
Can I ask you a question? Because this comes up with school lunches a lot. My kids will eat a cold quesadilla. If there's a cooler, sometimes your cooler works better than others. It's not going to be like a super cold sandwich. Hummus or cheese and like shredded lettuce, tomato, salt, pepper, oil, vinegar. My kids are psyched about that. But some people are like, really? Cheese? You'll pack a cheese sandwich for the pool? I do.
Yeah. Is the concern with the quesadillas like, oh, that it's cold, or even like grilled cheese? Is that what it is?
So many DMs like, oh my God, your kids will eat that?
Yeah, same.
They will.
And yes, they do. Anything that's like room temperature, they're fine with it. It doesn't get that cold. Yeah.
Okay, but can we just rattle off a couple of ideas for kids for moms and dads who are packing lunches for kids who are more sensitive? I think hummus is a great one, just like hummus on bread, and even like with cucumber. Cream cheese will hold up nicely in the cooler, just like cream cheese, shredded carrot, and everything bagel seasoning.
Also cream cheese and jelly. Because we try not to pack peanut butter for the pool. Yeah. I don't know that there's any rule against it, but I just think of allergies all the time. And Ella loves cream cheese, so she's down for cream cheese and jelly.
Cream cheese and jelly is his favorite. When I used to pack lunch, she's like, it's Friday. Can I have cream cheese and jelly?
It is also summertime. So like, what about fluff and Nutella sandwich. Then I'm taking it back. I'm like, I would serve that anytime. There's even like, you've talked about how fluff doesn't necessarily have any more sugar than jelly.
Has less than a lot of jellies. I did the work.
Yes.
Because someone's like, oh, fluff. Yeah. I mean, fluff and peanut butter, if you're staying away from peanut butter, nut butter sandwich is the jam. So good.
It's pure nostalgia for me.
I love it. So yeah, I think that's a great one for what else can you put on a summer sandwich?
Pesto, tomatoes, and fresh mozzarella is like one of my favorites. You can even do basil instead of lettuce on it. You mentioned hummus and cucumber. Oh, cream cheese, but flavored cream cheese. We have like a veggie olive cream cheese recipe that we can share. I've written about veggie cream cheese for kitchen. We can also share that recipe. That's like really like, I will just do veggie cream cheese and bread. And my kids are into that. Like they're like a luxury
Totally.
of, we don't have to like have other vegetables, even though they're getting vegetables in the cream cheese.
Totally.
Or with cucumbers or sliced avocado.
And think about it on a bagel to make it really hefty and filling too, because they do need a lot of carbs. They're in the pool, they're playing, they're active for hours in the heat. So I love that. I was going to also say protein snack boxes, but I feel like you covered it. Hard-boiled eggs. Y'all know that we love hard-boiled eggs. I'm just going to give this a shout out. We already talked about like the trail mix, snack mix, protein bar thing, but I found a recipe for trail mix slices that looked so good. It's basically taking all the things that are in an energy ball, but rolling it up the way you would slice and bake cookies. And you roll trail mix on the outside of it and then slice it up. And what's great is you can make it cold, slice it up, and then serve it. So I think that's great. Yogurt chia pudding. I have a recipe for that from Make It Easy. Adding yogurt. We've talked about this before for breakfast, but adding Greek style yogurt gives the pudding an even more creaminess, but also adds protein. So I think that's a great snack. And like with like frozen grapes or sliced fruit or cubed melon, like that can be really great and more filling than you might expect.
Overnight oats too, in the same vein.
I
don't love chia, like just straight up chia pudding by itself. I like it as part of something else. And my favorite overnight oats recipe, which we'll share, has chia seeds in it. So it has like, it's like an in-between texture of chia seed pudding and overnight oats. It's like almost pudding texture. I can't believe that I'm bringing this suggestion and you're not, which is salads. Pasta salad, where you add some cheese and pepperoni to make it more filling.
Pepperoni. You just wanted to hook me. I'm in.
But also like a ramen style salad where it's like crushed ramen noodles, slivered almonds, bagged broccoli slaw, a savory dressing. And then you could do like leftover grilled chicken, or if you meal prep, you listen to our episode about meal prepping on the grill and you have a bunch of meal prepped chicken, you can throw that in that salad. So thinking about picnic friendly food that like, I'm never going to suggest anything mayo based because it's not my jam, but chicken salad, tuna salad without mayo.
Yeah. I also think that people feel weird about maybe bringing something mayo based to the pool.
Why? Because of the time temperature, worried about leaving it out. Yeah.
Like there is something about it. And like if you use hearty bread, it won't get soggy. But I don't know. It just doesn't feel as right. But I agree. So here's a funny question for you.
Okay.
We talked about pool snacks. I totally agree that everything you talked about qualifies as a snack, or just kind of fortifies
we did say
you.
Snacks.
We did. So you got into lunch and I was like, oh, that's interesting because when we go to the beach, when we're at a public pool, my kids don't want a lunch that I packed. So we talked about sandwiches, which I think bridge the gap because the sandwich can be a snack to my kids, but they want lunch from the boardwalk or from the concession stand. They don't want
I don't have access to those things.
There's no concession stand at the pool.
No.
Oh, my kids they're like, can we go get a dog? Like that's what they want. It'd be so funny to pull out like a big salad and be like, you guys, let's have lunch here. They'd be like, what? Are you crazy, lady? Like the whole point is that we get to go to the boardwalk and get hot dogs and french fries for lunch.
I mean, It'd be a funny joke.
Yeah, it
And
would
then
be
you'd
a
have
funny
salad to eat. But you also want a
I
hot
do
dog.
want a hot
I can't
dog.
believe you're throwing it on the boys. You're like, oh, the boys want to go up to the boardwalk to get a
Soft
hot
serve.
dog.
And we got to end with
Billis.
soft serve. Boardwalk soft serve
Yeah.
is the best.
Okay.
Okay. Any more pool snacks?
Oh, clearly, I was like, oh, let's talk about
Lunch.
other meals we're eating at the pool.
Let's be at the pool all day.
So let's see what our listeners community needs.
I think that is a great idea. I'm sure that they have tons of suggestions. So if you haven't already joined us there, go to didn'tijustfeedyou.com/community. And if you want those bonus episodes, those other goodies, all of our recipe archive, we mentioned a lot of recipes that we have here today, join our supporting community.
Follow us on Instagram where we're at Didn't I Just Feed You. Keep in touch with us by signing up for our newsletter. Our regular lengthy episodes are coming back in August. So now is a great time to subscribe to Didn't I Just Feed You wherever you get your podcasts. A huge thank you to our editor, Samantha Gatzik. I'm Megan.
And I'm Stacy. Stay sane and well fed until next week.
Be sure to subscribe to Didn't I Just Feed You wherever you're listening. And don't forget to rate and review.